All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream, or if I end up uploading this to YouTube, welcome to the video. Today we're going to start off by checking out the Xbox Museum. If you're watching this in the future or you just haven't heard of it, Xbox is doing a thing for their 20th anniversary, where there's like a site you can log into, and it'll give you your own personal museum with your history that you have with Xbox, the games you played and stuff. They also have like a virtual museum for like all the different consoles and stuff. I'll leave a link in the description in case anyone watching this on YouTube wants to check it out. The video I actually learned about this museum from didn't have the link in the description, despite saying it was in the description, so I'll be sure to remember. But yeah, we're going to be checking it out. I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences with Xbox and I guess with gaming in general. This is basically going to be a story time with Noodle, so if you don't want to hear me ramble on about my history with games, don't watch this, I guess. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but let's jump right into it. So this is the page you start off with. It just gives you the overview. This thing you can actually download by clicking here or share it on Twitter and stuff. And yeah, it's nothing too impressive, but then you can click on go to your personal museum. And then once it loads in, ooh, look at that. It's an actual spatial museum. You can see my gamer score here with my gamer tag with the giant trophy, and then it has a bunch of stats all around here, and you know, there's the thing we saw earlier. So yeah, I'm basically going to start off today's stream by going through some of this stuff, talking about my experiences with Xbox and gaming, and we'll just go from there. So here we can see a number of titles played, 180. I don't know if that includes Game Pass games. I imagine it would. And I don't know, some stuff with like DLC may or may not count as a title. I'm not sure exactly. That I don't know. I haven't bought 180 games. It doesn't feel like it, at least. Total number of achievements. It's a lot of achievements. Number of rare achievements. Some achievements that I've gotten are rare, don't seem like they're rare. For instance, I was playing the Master Chief Collection. I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel where I played through all the Halo games for the first time. And I think like a game in like Halo Reach or Halo ODST, some of just like the story missions would just be rare achievements. And that doesn't seem quite right, so I'm not entirely sure about that. Game score through the years. Alright. Well, you can see when I really started using Xbox Live here. Really, I got my Xbox One in, I think it was late 2017, maybe early 2018. I'm not entirely sure. Actually, wait, no. It was like early 2018 or something, because I hadn't moved into this house yet. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. That Xbox One wasn't my first Xbox, but yeah, you can see 2018. I think that was mainly me playing like GTA 5. And playing my first few games, replaying a lot of games that I played on PC. 2019 grew quite a bit, from 6,000 to 13,000. 2018, I think I still played a lot of stuff on Switch and PC, so that's probably why it's as low as that is. Because I think 2017 was mostly Switch and PC. And then once I played Switch, I realized, hey, you know what? A lot of games are pretty good with the controller, and I'd rather play games in my recliner, or at least certain games in my recliner. So that's when I decided to buy my Xbox One, and that's why, you know, it really took off in 2018. And then, you know, it kept growing and growing. This year, Not as much as 2020 or 2019 even. I think that's because I was playing a lot of games on Stadia, which I still love. Stadia as a service. It has great tech, but there's just a lot of games that just aren't on Stadia. So yeah, that's probably why 2021 wasn't as big. It probably would have been bigger than 2022 in terms of my gamer score if I hadn't like messed around so much with Stadia. But I don't regret the time I played on Stadia. It's a great service. It works wonderfully. It just doesn't have some games, especially backwards compatible games, which I'll talk about later. So all right. But yeah, still a huge like gamer score considering, 50K is nothing to scoff at. Over here, it says first console played is the Xbox 360. That is not accurate. I actually had the original Xbox One. That was my first actual gaming device. I say that in quotes because technically I had a PC and technically I played games on it. Like I used to play like the Flash games for Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon on cartoonnetwork.com and stuff. So technically those are games. Technically I was playing, I was a gamer before my original Xbox, but it wasn't actual games. I think the only actual games I played on there were like Monopoly for the PC, and there was like a bowling game or something we had as kids. And other than that, I mainly played with my digital camera. That was like a game all in itself. It had so many cool features for the time, at least. Like it had slow motion, it had time lapse, it had obviously video and picture quality, pictures you could take. It was 480p, but it had a really long cable, so I had a lot of fun with that. So, yeah, I had so much fun with that. That was basically gaming for me for a while, just because it was so fun. But like I said, the original Xbox was my first Xbox. I actually still have it. Let's transition over here. You may or may not be able to see it. Yeah, right here. Right there. It's got a few things stacked on top of it. As you can imagine, it's been a minute or two since I've played on it, but I still have it. And that was my first ever Xbox that I owned. And I still have the first game I ever played on it. So the first game I ever played on it was Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I got it, I think, at the same time as my Xbox. My parents gave it to me for Christmas. And the cool thing about this, I don't even see many people talking about this or anything like this, but the cool thing about Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's bundled with Tetris. That's right. You get I think 2 discs. No, it's just 1 disc. So it's just like a split disc where one side's Star Wars: The Clone Wars and the other side's Tetris. But you flip the box and one side's Clone Wars, one side is Tetris. So that was my first game. I still have it to this day. And it actually, Star Wars: The Clone Wars just became backwards compatible on Xbox One and the Series X. So I'll definitely have to pick that up. But that was my first ever actual game. And the original Xbox was my first actual Xbox. The reason I think it doesn't say that is because I was in like third or fourth grade at the time. My parents didn't let me have Xbox Live. My neighbor had Xbox Live on their Xbox, but I was never able to play online, so that's probably why it says my first Xbox was the Xbox 360. It's because I didn't have Xbox Live on my original Xbox. One of the first games you played, I would say for Xbox 360, that is true. It's not the first game I played on PC, and not by a long shot, and certainly not the first game I played in general. I played a lot of games on my original Xbox, like the original Battlefront series. I played Simpsons Hit and Run, Simpsons Road Rage, all that good stuff. One of the first games I played on Xbox 360 in particular was probably Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Grand Theft Auto, well, my entire experience with the 360 was a huge dumpster fire. Basically, after I had my Xbox for a while, I just stumbled across the Wii online, seeing what the Wii could do, and I bought that. And it wasn't until later, when like the Kinect came out, that I really started looking at Xbox 360. So I got an Xbox 360 with the Kinect, all those games, because I had liked the Wii so much. And, you know, we played that for a bit. I think I tried to play online, Call of Duty online with some of my friends at school, but that didn't really work out because those guys weren't particularly nice anyway. So the fact that, you know, the Kinect eventually got boring, and I just hated playing shooters with a controller. Basically meant that I sold that Xbox 360 and all the things with it. So I ended up probably only having it for like a couple months, if that. But then I ended up selling that, and I think I used an old Xbox account on that. Yeah, it was, well, now I'm not sure, because my old Xbox account I'm looking at now had a different name that I used at the time. Don't bother adding it, it's a dead account. But yeah, it doesn't say anything about Call of Duty in there, so I'm not sure about that. But it wasn't until like Grand Theft Auto 5 released for 360 and PS3 that I really started considering buying another Xbox 360. And the reason why is because at the time, Grand Theft Auto 5 was only on 360 and PS3. Like, there was a huge gap between when it came out for those consoles and when it came out for PC. And so, like, as the months kept dragging on and Rockstar wouldn't release the game for PC, I kept being like, okay, come on, when is this going to get released? And I could never really, you know, eventually I just gave up, bought a 360 again, and then bought Grand Theft Auto 5. And so that's probably where this came from, because it is one of the first games I played on 360 with this account. But, yeah, that went horribly too. So, for me, I could only connect to the Rockstar servers in GTA Online for like a maximum of 30 minutes. Like, and that was the maximum. Like, getting to 30 minutes was like the record for me, because I would constantly get like an issue with connection. I would constantly get disconnected from the GTA Online servers. It was a terrible experience, and I didn't play the campaign on 360 because I wasn't really interested in that. I was interested in GTA Online because of videos from people like Vanoss and his friends, as well as like other videos online showing all the cool stuff you could do on GTA Online. And since I couldn't play GTA Online, there was really no point for me having an Xbox 360 anymore. And so I ended up selling that 360 as well. So yeah, the 360 was basically 2 failed attempts for me to get into it. I know a lot of people have a warm spot in their heart for the 360, and I can look back at some of the amazing games in hindsight and see why. But for me, I had a terrible time with the 360, and I don't know, it just never stuck with me, and it ruined console gaming for me all the way up until the release of the Nintendo Switch, which, you know, is when I actually gave playing games on a controller a second chance. And eventually, because of the good experience I had with the Switch, I decided to give the Xbox One a try. So yeah, one of the multiplayer games you played one of the multiplayer games you played. I think it's meant to say one of the first games you played. So yeah, prior to me getting a 360, this was probably back in 2011, 2012. I got Grand Theft Auto 4 on Steam, but you needed games for Windows Live in order to play the game. So I think this is why I created my specific account. Oh, actually, look, you can see there, yeah, 7/20/2012. So that's why I created this specific one that I'm on. Like I said, I had an old one, but by the time 2012 came along, I wasn't really going by that name anymore. And my old Xbox account really only had like a few achievements on it. Let me see here. Yeah, I played a little bit of Flat Out Ultimate Carnage on the PC, which was another games for Windows Live. And I actually have achievements on here for GTA 5 or GTA 4 on PC. So from 2011. So I guess I played Grand Theft Auto 4 for PC in 2011 on my old account, and then when I wanted to switch my name, you know, it cost money at the time to switch your name, and I didn't want to do that, so I created this account. And I only lost, you know, the achievements on for a few of the achievements for this game and Flat Out Ultimate Carnage, which I probably played for like 5 minutes. I only have 15 gamer score on that account from that, so I really didn't lose much, and all I had to do was create a new account, and I didn't have to pay to change my name. So that's why I created this account. First sign in on 2012. I think I actually re-earned all the achievements I got from GTA 4 because I played it on Steam, so I imagine just logging into that account would have just given me the achievements. I'm not sure. But yeah, I got the reason I got Grand Theft Auto 4 in 2011. This is actually an interesting story, and again, if you don't care, then I don't know why you're watching this. But when I was like a kid, like in like probably like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, my cousin was showing me games on his Xbox on one of the times we went over to, you know, my aunt and uncle's house. And he showed me, like, you know, Halo Combat Evolved. I think we played a bit of, like, split screen or whatever. I think it was PvP. I'm not sure. We didn't really fight each other, but I don't know if it was co-op or PvP, but I'm pretty sure it was Halo Combat Evolved. And then we played another game on his Xbox, and this was the original Xbox too, where, you know, I remember being amazed that you could just walk up to any car, hijack it, drive it around, get out, punch people on the street and stuff. In hindsight, I'm not sure which games were released on the original Xbox. It would probably be GTA 3. I don't know if San Andreas was on the original Xbox. It was like dark and gloomy, so I don't think it was like Vice City. If San Andreas was released on the original Xbox, it was probably that. But if San Andreas was never released on the original Xbox, then it may have just been GTA 3. Let me check real quick. Oh no, my browser got leaked. Yes, I use Edge. Deal with it. GTA San Andreas platforms. Let me just check real quick what systems it was on. Oh, it was on the original Xbox. Okay, so it probably was San Andreas then. Regardless if it was GTA 3 or San Andreas, I was really impressed by the game. But I don't remember him ever telling me what game it was, or if he did, I didn't remember. So like a few years later or whatever, when I was in middle school, I was describing this game to someone, and they said, oh, it's Grand Theft Auto. You know, when you describe a game where you hijack cars, drive around, and you can like punch people on the street, you know, obviously it's Grand Theft Auto. But keep in mind, I was a little kid. I didn't have experience with games like I do now. And, you know, they were just shocked that I just didn't know the Grand Theft Auto series. And so in 2011, I picked it up on PC. I played it on like this really cheap laptop, and it ran like a slideshow. And you might think I'm exaggerating. People might think, oh, he says it ran like a slideshow, that means it's probably like 10, 15 FPS or whatever. No, it was literally a slideshow. Like when you would drive around like Hove Beach, it would literally be a slideshow. And you know, the audio would be fine, but it would literally be a slideshow with like 1 frame per second, you know. If you got out, I think it would be a little better, but even on low settings, it was a terrible experience. And at this time, again, I'm just like a dumb kid, you know. I had no concept of like you know, oh, some PCs are powerful than others, you know. There's some games might not run on like a cheap old laptop, you know. And keep in mind, up to this point, all I'd really done was play games on console, and the games that I had played on PC, like the original Battlefront games, were really easy to run, you know. They could run no problem on that laptop. But yeah, it wasn't until like probably a year or two later, probably in 2012 actually. This is probably why I created this account and launched it on here. When I actually got like an actual desktop gaming PC, and I was able to actually play it and run it at a decent frame rate. I don't remember how well it ran, but it was a lot better than a slideshow, let's just say. The funny thing about GTA 4 on my old laptop was that despite literally running like a slideshow, I played a shocking amount of the game. Like, I played up to the point where you kill Vlad, so it's not like, that's probably like a good hour or two in. It was like a decent amount of time to actually play the game. Like, I don't know how I went through it the first time, but yeah. And when I got my gaming PC, you know, I had a desktop PC prior to this, but it was like an old PC that our community college was giving away to people who signed up for a summer class. So it wasn't new, it wasn't good, but it was a desktop PC. So this was the first time I actually had like a proper gaming PC that could play a game like Grand Theft Auto 4 at a reasonable frame rate. So that's probably why I created this account, and why Grand Theft Auto 4 is on here. Like, one of the first games I played on this account was because it just happened to line up where this was when I first got my gaming PC and I was actually able to play this game. So yeah. First login of each console. 2014, that's probably Grand Theft Auto 5 that I tried to play it on. I just gotta keep that window open. GTA 5. Yeah, September 17th, 2013. So this was definitely GTA 5. Keep in mind, GTA 5 wasn't out on PC yet. You know, we're talking about like a year after release, and it wasn't on PC. So I had spent like a year watching videos of people playing this game online, and I really wanted to play it. So that's why I played GTA 5 at that point. So, or that's why I bought a 360 to try and play GTA online at that point. But it didn't work, and I ended up waiting for the PC release anyway. So, Xbox One, I talked a little bit about that earlier. That experience with GTA 5 on the 360 basically ruined console gaming for me all the way up until the release of the Switch. And when the Switch came out and I started playing games on it, I was like, hey, you know what? This isn't actually terrible, you know? If it's not a first-person shooter, then I'm perfectly fine with playing games with a controller. So, yeah, I played a bunch of games on Switch, Mario Kart, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I even streamed some of that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I grew up with Xbox. They're doing some stuff with backwards compatibility. So I tried, I got the Xbox One S, I believe. and that's probably this date. I actually got it just like a week or so after the original Battlefront series became backwards compatible on Xbox One. So the games that I had spent most of my childhood playing had just become backwards compatible on Xbox One. So it was like perfect timing that I got my Xbox One, and I ended up really enjoying games on there. And so that basically sealed the deal. I think shortly after that, I ended up getting a Xbox One X, because GameStop at the time was having this deal where they gave you like a huge amount of trade-in credit for trading your Xbox One S if you're upgrading to the Xbox One X. And it was so much trading credits it was almost like a redo. Like, if I hadn't bought my Xbox One S, then I would have spent the same amount of money in total to upgrade to the One X, whereas if I had just bought the One X initially. So it didn't cost me really any extra money to upgrade. It was basically like I had just bought the One X to begin with. And I didn't buy the One X initially because, I wasn't sure about it. But once I had a good experience with the One S, then I was confident enough to get the One X. And so I upgraded to that, and it was a good deal. It was basically like a do-over with the trading credit I got from GameStop. So I did that, played my One X, had a happy time, and then I got my Series X. I don't know if this date is specifically the launch day or the day after, but I basically bought the Series X at launch and had a great time with that. First play of the most played game. What is my most played game? Actually, I know, it says it over there. It's Grand Theft Auto 5. So, is this that can't be the 360 version then. Yeah, the 360 was in 2018, so I guess they count the 360 and Xbox One versions as different. But yeah, this is Grand Theft Auto 5. This is the first day I played that. And yeah, you can see here, I'll talk a little bit more about Grand Theft Auto 5 in a moment, but let's see. We can see here, first game per console, Grand Theft Auto 5. Again, technically not true. The actual first game I played on 360 was probably some Kinect game or whatever, but and then I already showed you the first game I played on the original Xbox, which is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So it's probably not Grand Theft Auto 5 for 360, but as far as this Xbox Live account's concerned, it is. Xbox One, the first thing I wanted to try on Xbox One was Grand Theft Auto 5, and the reason why was because I had such a terrible time with the 360 that I wanted to see if the Xbox One gave me any better of an experience, and it was like a big test for the Xbox One. Like, if the Xbox One handled this correctly, then I would give gaming on Xbox a better chance, and sure enough, it worked really, really well, as we'll see in a bit. Counter-Strike Go. I'm not actually a huge Counter-Strike fan. I don't really play it much on PC. I just saw it was backwards compatible, and I wanted to see how it worked on Xbox Series, so I got that. And I played it for like an hour or two, and yeah, nothing really else to say. I'm not a hardcore fan. It is a good experience if you are a Counter-Strike fan on PC. It's a great way of experiencing Counter-Strike Global Offensive when it was first launched, because the Xbox version has not been updated. So, and there's actually a decent amount of people that play it online still. So if you want to see what Counter-Strike Global Offensive was like when it launched, that's a good experience. If people aren't playing it, you can play with bots. It's all good. Unlike TF2 you can't play with bots, but Counter-Strike Global Offensive you can. So that's all I got to say on that. I'm not a huge fan. It's just sort of a coincidence that was sort of the first game I played on my Series X. So First achievement, off the boat. This is kind of jumping around. I know for a fact that that is the opening achievement for Grand Theft Auto 4. So, you know, when games like, you know, give you like a freebie achievement, or, you know, they give you an achievement for completing the first mission or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's this achievement for GTA 4. So, yeah, I talked plenty about GTA 4, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is from. My first rare achievement, Monster Hunter. I'll actually need to look that up. I'm not sure what achievement that's from. Let's see. First rare achievement. Well, it's given me... Google is just giving me a bunch of achievements for Monster Hunter World. It's not actually like the achievement. I think that might be from Halo if I had to guess. But no, that can't be my first one because I didn't play Halo until like last year. I'm not sure what achievement this is for, like what game this is from. Let me know if in the comments if someone figures that out. Monster Hunter. That's going to bug me, but I'm not sure what that's from. All right, next up we got most played game each year. So 2014, Grand Theft Auto 5. I believe. I'm not sure what 2014 is for, but 2014 Grand Theft Auto 5. 2018, that's shortly after I got my Xbox One. I played that the most in 2018. 2019, same thing. A lot of the time I spent in GTA 5 was in Grand Theft Auto Online. I actually did play the story on Xbox One. I played it first on PC, but I replayed it on Xbox One. And beyond that, I would play a bunch of the heists with friends. I actually had a couple friends that I would do heists with normally, and we would just sort of grind heists. So like the Doomsday heist, we did a bunch of the regular heists, and it was fun, you know? Say what you will about GTA Online, it certainly has a bunch of problems, but it's really fun to play with friends. So I actually made a decent amount of friends like this. We did the jewelry store heist, we did, you know, the Doomsday heist, like I said, the regular heist, and I only really picked it up recently for the Cayo Perico heist, and I haven't really played it much since that. So I haven't played like the Tuners DLC that much or anything like that, but I used to play this all the time, so I can absolutely see why it's taken up so much time. It was my most played game in 2019 and 2018. 2020 actually changed. It was the Elder Scrolls Online, and if you know the Elder Scrolls Online, oh, that's a big game. You can play probably thousands of hours in that game and not experience everything. There's just, and keep in mind, I'm only playing this as like a solo experience. I'm not playing Elder Scrolls Online with friends, but with all the expansions, with all the DLC, and I believe, like, you know, if you get it on sale, like I think you can get like the Blackwood chapter for like $30 for Black Friday. I don't know, something crazy like that. You get that plus all the previous expansions and stuff, which is crazy. You just have so much content to go through. And as someone who really enjoyed Skyrim, I probably played it at some point in 2018 or 2019. You know, Elder Scrolls Online is a really great expansion of that world. And like I said, there's endless content for you to do as a solo player. You can do PvP, you can do dungeons, but really all I've ever done in Elder Scrolls Online is solo quests. And I've still spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in the game. It feels endless, you know. There is a certain cutoff point, but there's just so many quests and stuff to do that you can spend like hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of hours in this game and not experience everything. So if you're a fan of Skyrim, if you're a fan of like the Elder Scrolls franchise, I highly recommend the Elder Scrolls Online. You don't need a subscription to play it. You just buy the expansions, you buy the game, and you're set. So I really love the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm surprised it's not there for 2021. You know what? I think in 2021 I played it mainly on PC and Stadia because those two platforms have cross progression with each other. So that's probably why. I played a bunch of it on Xbox in 2020, but in 2021 it was mainly on PC/Stadia. 2021 actually Hitman 3. I'm not sure if this includes Hitman 1 and 2 because if you don't know, you can basically play all the Hitman 1 and 2 levels in Hitman 3 with enhanced graphics and stuff. So I would think that this is all 3 Hitman games combined, plus the DLC, which would make sense. I really like Hitman. It's a slower game. It's a methodical game. You gotta plan out how you're going to do something. And the game has a lot of replayability. Like you play one mission, you do it one way, then you can redo that mission and complete it in a completely different way, and you're rewarded with different weapons and items for progression in that specific mission. So you can unlock, a dart gun that shoots anemic darts, so that your target has to use the bathroom or whatever. Or you can unlock deadly poison or a new pistol or something. It rewards you for redoing missions in unique ways, and it does a really good job of taking like a set of 5 to 7 levels and really making those infinitely replayable. So it's at one point, on one hand, it's not a surprise that Hitman 3 is #1 for 2021. I'm also kind of surprised Elder Scrolls Online isn't there too, but like I said, I think that's mainly because 2021 I was messing with Stadia and by extension the PC version. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. But highly recommend all the games on these lists. They're really great games. Most played game, Grand Theft Auto 5. I've already said so much about that. Alright, top 5 most played games. I don't know if these are in any order. Yeah, I have no idea. Grand Theft Auto 5, we know that's my most played game. Roblox for Xbox. See, I feel like I've played a lot more ESO than Roblox. I have played Roblox on Xbox quite a bit because even though there is a bunch of junk in Roblox, there are some really good games in Roblox as a whole. You can look up like Arsenal and Tower Defense Simulator, although I don't think that's on Xbox. But there's a bunch of cool games that are actually good in there. There's like plenty of diamonds in the rough. Don't let all the cringy, low graphics keep you from trying out Roblox. There are some legitimately great games in there that should be standalone games. So I definitely do recommend Roblox. Again, don't let the cringe stuff and the terrible graphics prevent you from trying it out. There are some really legitimately good games in there. So that's why that's there. Elder Scrolls Online, I love that game. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. So yeah, when that came out, I definitely played through that. I played through the Special Edition once that was released for Xbox, because I had played Elder Scrolls on Skyrim on PC with mods, and then it was released with mod support on Xbox. So I played through that quite a bit when that came out. I believe this also includes the Anniversary Edition, because the Skyrim Anniversary Edition is technically DLC for the Special Edition, and I've been playing like that as my main game for the past 2 weeks. So I think that's partially why, because the Anniversary Edition is technically DLC for Skyrim. I think it was here before, but I've definitely played a mountain load of Skyrim, and it's just a great game. And like I was saying with Elder Scrolls Online, Skyrim is the reason why I tried out Elder Scrolls Online and why it's one of my most played games ever. So that's why I just love the Elder Scrolls series. Skyrim was my first Elder Scrolls game. I should try out Morrowind and Oblivion at some point. They're part of Game Pass, so I've got access to them. But yeah, Skyrim, I played a whole lot of that with and without mods for the achievements and for the mod experience on Xbox, which is really good actually. The Xbox version has support for more storage for mods, and I believe it allows texture mods, which I don't think are a thing on PlayStation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the Xbox version is the superior version if you want to do the mods on consoles. So that's why I played so much Skyrim, and I'm playing through it again right now for the anniversary edition and all that content. So if you've played Skyrim, you know how many hours you can sink into that. So that's why that's there. That's why I played so much ESO. Watch Dogs 2, man. I mean, you can sort of see by how much time I played GTA 5 why I liked Watch Dogs 2. It's just such a good game. Like, it's not Grand Theft Auto 5 with hacking, but in a lot of ways it is. It's not as polished per se as GTA 5, but there's a lot more mechanics that you can do in there that you can't do in GTA 5. Like, for instance, in Watch Dogs 2, I love the social engineering tree where you can just send a gangster to come in and mow down other gangsters or other enemies in a certain area. And then there's so much creativity you can do with hacking and stuff. Plus, I love the story. I love the characters. I realize some people think they're kind of cringy, or maybe that's, I don't know, they're not that great. But I love the characters in Watch Dogs 2. I love Wrench. I love all the other characters, T-Bone. And it's just a great game, You got driving, you can do a bunch of side activities. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining why I love this game so much, but Watch Dogs 2 is like one of the only games that I've restarted from like scratch. So I played Watch Dogs 2 shortly after I got my Xbox One, I believe. And I played through it to basically completion, where I unlocked most of the skills. I did basically all of the missions and side missions. I did so much like online stuff, and years later I loved it so much I wanted to replay it again. So I did. I started a new game, started it from scratch, and basically 100%ed it again. I didn't like actually 100% it, but it's like one of the few games that I've gotten close to 100%ing. Like, I redid all the main missions, I redid all the side quests, I redid a bunch of the online stuff, and that's not to even talk about like the hacking invasions. My goodness, the hacking invasions are so good. If you haven't played Watch Dogs 2, the hacking invasions are basically where it's an online mode where you can actually go into someone else's single player campaign and hack them, and then once you start hacking them, they have to try and find you before you finish the download on their data or whatever. And it's a really fun, intense game where you're trying to hide from the person you're trying to hack, or if you're being hacked, you're trying to find the person who's hacking you and stuff. It's really fun. I loved playing that mode so much. It's such a shame that that wasn't in Watch Dogs Legion, at least not to the same degree. So I love Watch Dogs 2. I think the only reason it's not higher up on this list, or why it's not my most played game, is because there is sort of like a hard limit on when the game ends. There's only so many main missions, there's only so many side quests, and compared to Elder Scrolls Online, Elder Scrolls Online has like probably like 100 times the quests in there. It's just such a huge game, and that's probably the only reason why Watch Dogs 2 isn't higher up, because these other games have so much replayability. Even Grand Theft Auto 5 with GTA Online, I feel like, has a lot more content when you get into the heists and you get into all the contact missions and all the different online modes. I think that has more content, but I love Watch Dogs 2 to pieces. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I can't recommend it enough, even if you haven't played Watch Dogs before. Most rare achievements per year. Have a cheerful day. That's actually a Minecraft achievement. I didn't know this was a rare achievement, but apparently this is the achievement you get for crafting shears with like iron and stuff, and then you clip the wool off a sheep, so you can get the wool from a sheep without killing it. I don't know why that's a rare achievement. I guess people just prefer to just kill sheep. I mean, it's certainly easier, but well, what will you become? Now, I looked up what games some of these are from beforehand. What Will You Become is from Star Wars Battlefront 2015. And again, as I said earlier, I played the original Battlefront series when I was a kid. Like, that was my favorite game as a kid. So of course, when DICE and EA came out with Battlefront 2015, I pre-ordered it. I got the Ultimate Edition, and I actually really loved it. Yes, it was it could have used a few more maps. Yes, the DLC map should have been free, but honestly, I loved Battlefront 2015 so much, and the Battlefront 2 just frustrates me so much because of like the balancing and the stun mechanics. I honestly think that if Battlefront 2015 had like some more maps for everyone to play, and it had some like balancing tweaks for like the back to bomb and stuff, if it just had like a few tweaks and a few more maps, it would be my favorite Star Wars shooter of all time. And I do not say that lightly. I love the original games. I love them to pieces, but I just loved playing Walker Assault on Battlefront 2015 so much that I think, honestly, it would be a lot better than any other game, Star Wars game, if it just had like a few balancing tweaks and it had a little more TLC and a few more maps. It would be great, you know. I can't explain why, I can't explain why I prefer 2015 over the Battlefront 2, 2017 Battlefront 2. The stun locks, the mechanics. I don't like how the heroes are basically just, have slightly more health, it feels like, than soldiers. I loved it in the older games and in Battlefront 2015, where heroes had like a massive health pool and they were a real threat. And in the old Battlefront games, you would heal between kills and stuff. Like, it was legitimately, it felt like you were powerful as a hero in those games, and it didn't feel that way in Battlefront 2 2017. And that, with the stun locks and all the balancing issues I have with the game, like, Battlefront 2 2017 is the only game I've ever gotten so angry with that I've broken like a mouse with. No other game has done that, but Battlefront 2 was like, made me so pissed off that I broke my mouse. But anyway, I know most people like Battlefront 2 more than the 2015 Battlefront, but I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I loved Battlefront 2015 a lot more than Battlefront 2 2017. Sue me, whatever. Debate me in the comments, I don't care. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Prize Catch. What game is that from? Prize Catch. Watch Dogs 2. Oh yeah. This is an achievement you get, I believe, for doing all of the online missions in Watch Dogs 2. I talked about how much I love that game, and I basically did everything. I believe this is like one of the achievements you get for doing the online missions. Let me see, what's the other achievement there? Pest control. That's from Halo Master Chief Collection. So I was talking earlier about how I have this whole series on my channel where I've played through all the major Halo games. I started doing that in 2020. That's probably what this is from. Of Earth. What game is that from? Elder Scrolls Online. Oh yeah. So River of Rebirth is actually the achievement you get for completing the Murkmire DLC. And that's the most rare achievement I have from that game, apparently, for that year. My only guess is why that achievement in particular is so rare is that you do have to buy the Murkmire DLC and Elder Scrolls Online, and it's not the most popular DLC either. So I'm probably one of the few people that have played the Murkmire DLC and actually completed it, and that's why that's so rare. You know, Pest Control I'm actually proud of because it's Watch Dogs 2. I love that game to pieces, and it shows you how far I went in that game. But you know, that's just the story mission, you know? If anyone buys the Murkmire DLC and finishes it, you'll get this achievement, so it's not nearly as good of an achievement as the others. But, yeah. Jeez. That was a long segment. We spent so much time on that. We spent like almost a full hour on that. Probably by the time I end this, it'll be a full hour. I did not expect that to take so long. But yeah, here's the little summary that we saw at the beginning to activate the story. Oh yeah, this is basically the same thing. So yeah, that's my history with Xbox. It's been so fun. I really have, you know, countless memories and countless I don't know, experiences and games I've played on this platform, and I'm really happy they've done something like this for the anniversary. I think yeah, like I said before, I'll have a link down below in the description for those of you who want to see your own personalized museum. I probably could have talked about even more, but I mean, with regards to Xbox, I think this is basically everything. But I've talked on for quite a while, so yeah, all I'll say is that I'm excited to try for the future of Xbox. You know, Elder Scrolls 6, I'm really excited to play after, you know, seeing all my stuff with Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online. I'm really excited to try out Halo after playing like all the Halo games on my YouTube channel here. Starfield looks good. I'm excited to see what that's like. We'll have to see if those are actually good games or if there ended up going to be like a cyberpunk scenario, you know. But I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'll have to get this game on Xbox backwards compatibility. There's a few other games I played that I want to buy that I didn't talk about here. Like there's Star Wars Episode 3, which is sort of like a weird game that I played when I was a kid on the original Xbox. There's Thrillville Off the Rails, which I played on Wii originally, that I want to pick up. There's so much stuff about Xbox, my history, that I didn't really talk about today, but I figured this was a cool thing to talk about, if not just for my own sort of records, so I could watch this 20 years from now, and maybe relive some memories that I may or may not forget in 20 or so years. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd like to thank you for coming by and watching. I'm not going to show off the rest of the Xbox Museum, because there's probably like videos online that show you the actual museum. But we've spent like an hour talking about my personal museum, but if you want to like go in and see, like, I don't know, the history of the Xbox 360, you can go in here and it'll show you like videos and articles, and they have like a whole thing that I didn't even touch on today, but I'll just leave it off here for now. I'll briefly show off the original Xbox One because I checked that out earlier. Oh, it just took me right to the original Xbox One. So yeah, they have a bunch of stuff here. Birth of a Prototype. You can go in and see more details about these. The meaning of green. They have videos and stuff. I think some of these clips are from their upcoming documentary, The Story of Xbox, I believe it's called. So I love how Microsoft took the time to make this whole game, essentially, this whole virtual museum, and even took the time to make your own personal history about it. So I thought that was really cool. I wanted to stream it, talk to you about it today. If anyone is curious about my history with Xbox and gaming in general, there you go. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys again for watching. If you are watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, leave your comments down below about your own history with Xbox. What are your stories? What's your experience with Xbox? Which one of my stories did you like the most? Let me down below. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and continue the stream off here. But yeah, I just wanted to leave this here, make this recording. If anything else, just for, so I can watch this 20 years from now or whatever and watch it back. But I'm just repeating myself at this point. You know what? I'll just say the date, just so for future reference. It's Saturday, November 27th, 2021. So, I don't know. There we go. This is a terrible outro. I'm sorry, but yeah. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.